Chase Lane, co-founder of Blueprint, as in Black leaders who undertake excellence. Proud Aggie, staunch advocate of women's sports, new member of the 90 Hours Club. Congratulations
Yes,
on
yes.
ordering your Aggie ring. Always a good time. Junior wide receiver, number 2 on the field, number 1 in our hearts. My friend, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing great. How are you? I'm happy
I'm
you
doing
have
all
to be
right.
here.
I'm glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Very excited.
Okay. All right. So I really wanted to start with you being an Aggie, right? So we're going to take it back a little bit to freshman year. You redshirted your freshman year. And whenever I hear redshirt, I'm brought back to my experience, my sophomore year after my transfer. And those were scary sights. Like thinking about it now, I'm glad I'm done with that. And I always say redshirting is, I don't know, it's a tricky deal because you really don't know how it's going to play out for you. So I wanted to ask you about your experience as a redshirt and if there are any moments or lessons that you've taken from that time that you still carry with you now.
Yeah, so like you said, redshirted my freshman year, and those are trying times, especially as a freshman coming in, being the quote unquote guy or that person that your team went to in high school, and then going through a whole different shock and whatever. So yeah, I had a lot of dark moments in my freshman year, but just with the support of my family, really helped me get through that. But it really showed me the resiliency and the fact that you don't know when you're going to get your turn, but you still have to be in your P's and Q's and take care of your business where you know you can take care of your business. So when you do get that opportunity or that chance, then you're ready for it. So that's how I kind of looked at it. And my redshirt experience was different than most because I was on the scout team for the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season. So I didn't travel with the team.
Wow.
I was like the only scholarship player on the scout team when I first got here. So just, you know how that, just think about that, just how
I can only imagine.
Yeah. So going through that and then just not transferring, just trying to keep my head down, just go to work and just praying for better days. And then fast forward to now, just like I look back at those times and kind of it just molds my character, so to speak. So
for sure. No, I can only imagine that. Scout team. So that'll segue into another question I have for you, but I want to just go chronologically. So how would you characterize after you got through that rough experience? How would you characterize your first year of playing?
First year of playing, it was a fun experience. I felt like, I don't want to say I felt like I arrived, but I felt that sense of security that like, okay, I can play in the SEC. I can produce in the SEC. I can have a big impact. And just it was so fun. Just the attention I got in a good way, just dealing with that and just like feeling like I mattered, feeling like I was like a vital part of the team and their success. It did a lot for my confidence and it did a lot for just how I carry myself on a day-to-day basis. So I really appreciate that.
From scout team to feeling a little bit of security, getting that attention. Okay. So so after that first year, it was fun, you enjoyed it. That second year, this past year, where were you mentally, emotionally, spiritually going into the season?
Going into the season, I felt aligned with everything from my mental state to my spiritual state to my emotional state, physical state, so on and so forth. Felt aligned, but you know, things happen at the weirdest times, and me being a person who's never really had injuries and anything that's kept me out for a long period of time, from getting a concussion this season and spraining my right ankle that was lingering on whole year, and then partially tearing my Achilles. So I got all those in the span of a season, and some of those were in the span of a couple of weeks. So that did try me again, just mentally and emotionally, just like, why me? You feel me? Like, why is this happening to me?
For sure.
Why is this happening to me? But it's almost a blessing in disguise because it takes away that air of complacency that some people can get in when you do see early success. So for me, seeing early success to seeing it go away, so to speak, really helped me keep that like hungry mentality and
Perspective. It gave you
yeah,
perspective. Sure.
give me
No,
perspective. Just like, okay, like I haven't made it yet. I still got to go out there and get mine. So that makes sense.
definitely. So, I mean, that's exactly what I was going to talk about. So, scout team, redshirt freshman year, enjoy it. You enjoyed your first year playing. Second year, racked with injuries, just uncharacteristic, just spontaneous, just accidents, right? Just things
Yeah.
that happen that you couldn't have anticipated. How did you talked about the alignment that you felt prior to all of those things happening. Did that alignment, that energy that you had going in, did it carry you through those dark times? Like how did you see yourself through that?
It's a good question. How I saw myself through that. Yeah, I just tried to keep a warrior spirit.
Warriors.
And like you said, those things that I felt like I was aligned with going into the season, I just used those as my backbone and just went back to my roots and just planted in my faith, in myself, and the higher, my God, one only. So staying planted within that and just trusting myself and trusting the process because everyone says they trust the process. Everyone wants to say, "Oh, I trust the process, I trust the process," but it's much easier said than done.
For sure.
And
Like
so
you said.
so when you really are enabling yourself to trust the process and be present in your moment and not be worried about what so and so is doing and trying to compare yourself to others and their success, which I struggled with when I had these injuries, just seeing my peers and seeing people across the country do things that I felt like I could be doing, but I was held back due to injury. But once I got through that little short period of like, dang, like could have been me, this, that, and the third, then I kind of just went back to what I really preach. Like I try to practice what I preach, and so I try to go back to those values I hold within myself, and it got me through those days. So
Okay. So I want to talk about your heroes. So when we talk about values, those are instilled in us by the people who raise us, by our environment, but also by the people that we admire, the people that we don't even know, but we feel like we do because we stalk their Instagrams and we love everything that they stand for. So in a lot of your interviews, you talked about just being an advocate for women's sports, right? And most notably, Allison Felix, right? That knowing about her and just appreciating her story. And most recently, you talked about Malcolm X, right? And him being somebody that you kind of admire and look to. So can you add to that list of heroes and then kind of pinpoint those things that you admire about all of them collectively, each of them specifically? Just it gives us a holistic perspective of who you are and what you value. And I think there's so much to say about that.
all right, so there's three people in particular that I could add to that list just off the top of my head, and in no order it'd be my dad, my mom, and Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie,
So
okay.
yeah, so starting with my pops,
Let's do it.
like if people who don't know me wouldn't know, but like my dad is like my best friend. So when I try to like the man I like I would like to aspire to be is my father. And that says a lot knowing that my dad didn't really have his dad in his life,
Okay.
but he made it a priority to make sure that he was in his kids' lives. So
Mhm.
I appreciate him for that first and foremost, because in the Black community, a lot of Black men aren't there for their children, and that's a whole nother discussion. But
For sure.
just the way my dad carries himself as a man, and just the way he carries himself as a person, just his confidence, to his intellect, to his the way he handles people, how he deals with people, and his profession, and just how he's a leader. Like I look at my dad as just the ultimate epiphany of what a leader should be and how they act. And I have the utmost respect for my father. And um, yeah, so when my dad see this, he'll probably shed a couple tears. But that's all. Just off the brief description of what I gave you about how my dad is to me, you can see how I feel about my dad. So
Yes.
that's number one. Number two, my mom. My mom, she is my backbone. So just the relationship I have with her is it's unique in ways because my mom and I, like, we can argue, we can bicker, we can go back and forth, but then 30 seconds later, we're probably the most loving mother and son that you could never see, like, ever. So um, I feel like I always tell people I learned how to appreciate women. I learned how to love. I learned how to be in tune with my sensuality through my mother. And a lot of men struggle with that, and a lot of men struggle with um, being big and bad. This just testosterone filled. So yeah,
Right.
and how men look at being in tune with their sensitive side and being in tune with their sensuality. But my mom and my dad did a good job of co-signing off of that. But my mom really showed me that, hey, like, it's okay to cry. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to feel certain things when you feel them. It's okay to express how you feel when you feel them, because you should never keep anything bottled up inside, because then it portrays a different image of what you really are. And so
True.
my mom, she taught me how to love, taught me how to have compassion, passion, and everything. So
Yeah.
that's it for my mom. Kyrie Irving. Um,
Okay.
I know he back from where you from? He from Jersey, right?
He is from Jersey.
Yeah, he's from Jersey.
Jersey
So
boy.
yeah, my pops from Jersey too. That's the whole story.
Hey.
So Kyrie, and Kyrie, say what you want about Kyrie Irving, but I respect him just besides basketball. He's one of my favorite basketball players, but just besides basketball, he is unapologetic in the way he feels. He's a strong-minded individual, and
True.
you know for sure that's what you're gonna get out of him. He's unique to himself. He believes what he believes, and he's firm in that. And so, seeing how he's carried himself over these last couple of years, I've really tried to take on myself and try to be a person who still open-minded in a sense that other ideas are good ideas, but being firm in what I believe and not being manipulated or tricked into how I should think or how other people think I should think. You feel me?
No,
So
for sure.
just trying to carry myself in this aura, in this realm of just being firm in what you believe in, being unapologetic about it, but still being respectful of others. So, and that
I
makes
like
sense. So,
Oh, I
so
love that.
that was specifically put for each individual, but collectively, like you said, um, all three people have shown me in their own way to have confidence in myself, and confident but not cocky, confident but not arrogant. So
Right.
um, my dad always tells me, like we can't lose in any situation, in any
I
adversity
like
you
that.
might find in life. Yeah, you can't lose. And so we started every morning with that. He texts me, we can't lose today. Can't lose. And so I kind of took that as a motto and kind of just hold my head with that. And I like to walk into every room like God put me in that room. So
Right.
like God put me in that room for a reason. God allowed me to be on this podcast for a reason. And so I go with that mindset as such. And that's how I try to live my life.
I love that. We can't lose. That's fire. I'm not even gonna lie. That's fire. You got to get that tatted or something. I don't know.
All
I
right.
like that. But okay. Well, thank you for sharing. It's always as you talked about your dad probably maybe like tearing up when he sees this, and my mom is the exact same way. I will shout her out on every possible moment I can because
Yeah.
she has played a pivotal role um, in me, like my development, where I am, what I do, how I behave. Like she's everything for me. The I'm independent, or I embrace my independence. I embrace my femininity, but I embrace that duality of it, right? You talked about your mom kind of giving you that go ahead, right? With embracing your sensuality, your sensual side, being able to cry and be sensitive and kind of not rejecting emotion as
Right.
a lot of men are kind of groomed or taught to do. Um, yeah, I mean, I love my mom, and it's so cool when I meet other people who kind of feel the same way about their parents, and just how appreciative we are of them. So
Yeah.
shout out to the parents, shout out to the
Shout out
mom,
to the
shout out to the dad.
parents. Shout them out.
So I want to talk about your dream. So you're very open about who you are, right? You talk about Kyrie, just having confidence in yourself, and with that confidence comes a voice, right? You're very outspoken, and I love that about you. So you talked about wanting to go to the NFL, right? Love that. Then ultimately getting to sports broadcasting and finishing off, or kind of down the line, being an AD.
Do your research.
Yeah, of course, I have to come
Yeah.
prepared. That's one of the things I value. I got to be prepared for this.
Yeah.
So obviously, all of those stay within the sports industry, but outside of football, one of your passions, I wanted to ask you about where those things come from, right? Like it makes sense that you want to go. You love football, so you're going to want to play at the highest level. But as far as being in sports broadcasting and being an AD, how do your passions align with those dreams?
So being a sports broadcaster is something that I've always wanted to do. Just knowing me, I can talk about a whole lot of sports. I can go in basketball, I can go to baseball, football, and whatnot. But I think my passions align with what I want to do after football, mainly because even though it's still in the sports industry, it's not necessarily being an athlete. And so one of my passions, we spoke about it earlier, is being there for the Black youth and showing them different routes to success. And growing up, and however we're programmed, for some reason we think, I'm guilty, we think that, to be successful I have to be a basketball player, I gotta be a football player, I gotta be a rapper, you feel me, like things like that. And so just showing the youth, and some of it is, it happens through, and you said I'm outspoken, so I'm gonna say some of that programming and that ingrainment into our minds comes from our own communities, comes from coaches, comes from coaches who are recruiting us, letting us know, like, hey, like, you got a coach that goes down to the hood and gets a 4-star athlete, and that 4-star athlete feels like the tunnel vision is only to the league, and I gotta get to the league, I gotta make it out. Yeah, I gotta make it out. But like, we get distracted from the fact that us as Black athletes, these high profile athletes, we're getting recruited to these major Division I programs who can give us the same opportunity in the classroom, can give us the same opportunity in any other field besides athletics. But I feel like we get so tunnel vision on this one dream, this one goal, and we forget the average tenure playing in the league is like 3.8 years, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So like, and not everyone gets drafted.
Nope.
So it's like, if you get hurt in college, and if you're only set on into the league, like what's next? So back to the point. Just like, I want to be able to be an example, be like a visual of how else you can be successful in life. And that's whether that's getting in front of the camera and speaking about sports or speaking about anything. I could be a newscaster. I could be like a meteorologist, like things of that nature. Like, it doesn't have to be sports. And I feel like that aligns with one of my goals afterwards. And further down the line, being an athletic director, I can probably count the number of Black ADs that are on my fingers and throughout the country. And I just feel like there's a need for more people of color in these certain positions, because if we're going to go and recruit, if you look at the majority of teams throughout, like football, basketball, whatnot, the majority of those athletes are people of color. They're Black. So why not have a Black person in charge of these athletics if we're going to go and recruit these kids from these neighborhoods? You feel me? So I feel like, I don't want to say I'm going to be the one who steps into the door, because there are Black athletic directors out there, but I want to be that Black AD who takes it to the next level, who revolutionizes the game, revolutionizes sport in general, and allows Black youth to see me as that figure, as that person who quote unquote made it, and get into their minds, wow, like, even if I don't go to the NFL, life isn't over.
Right.
You feel me? If I don't go to the NBA, life isn't over. I can go get a degree. I can go to grad school. I can get a doctorate. My dad has a doctorate. Like I can go dibble and dabble in other places, other fields, and still get that same success, still get that same money. So that's how I look at it.
When did So when did that start for you? Did you always know, like, I'm more than my sport, right? When did you figure out that you wanted to be that visual, that you wanted to revolutionize sport, and maybe not on the field, right? And maybe not as a player, not that that is impossible, but just inhabiting those spaces that many people of color don't inhabit yet, right? You can count the number of Black ADs on your hand, on one hand, right? Like,
Yeah.
when did that start for you?
Quarantine
Quarantine.
2020.
Quarantine, formative period.
Yeah.
Quarantine. A lot of things go through your mind in quarantine. Okay.
So just because I mean, and I hate to say the peak of social injustice, because there's never been a low point in that.
That's true.
But just when life itself went on pause and people were able to take a step back and really open their eyes and see what was happening to the Black community, and see how not only Black athletes were being treated, but just Black people in general were being treated throughout the country, throughout the world. It's not just locked to America,
Right.
but just seeing that. And I was in College Station most of quarantine, and my roommate was back in Dallas, so I was by myself from April to whenever we came back to school. And so just doing research, and not necessarily research, but just being present in my moment and really opening my eyes and being like more aware of my surroundings and how we're viewed, in a sense, what I'm getting at, but how we're viewed, and
yes,
and how we're utilized, and everything. And so when I sat back and really like saw that, I was just like, okay, what if I wasn't an athlete? How would I be viewed as? Questions start popping to your mind, and questions are good to have. And when I don't feel like I can answer those questions for myself, I like to think about it and sit back and do my own research.
Right.
And so with that, just really being sunk into my mind and thinking about how I can bring change, and how I can break the narrative and break the status quo, break the stereotype of just being this Black athlete that's programmed to, well, I gotta go to the league, I gotta go to the league, I gotta go to the league. I got out of that line and started to look at life in a different perspective, and just seeing how other ways I can be successful. So to answer your question, I figured out that like what I wanted to do with my life, whether it be playing sports or just being successful in general, that's when it happened, back quarantine.
Quarantine was a lot of self-reflection in that time. So I can definitely relate to that. Something similar happened to me, just in the sense of, I discovered like that I like to build things. I'm a self-starter. I like to create. I like to create platforms for people, to connect people. That's my passion, just being a resource in that way. And I just want to say, it's so powerful that you talk about visuals and being a face for kids to see, off the field, off the court, off the beaten path, right? Because you think a lot of kids are like streamlined down this path of, and media has a lot to do with this, I have to be a musician or someone in the entertainment industry in general, right? So that's athletics, that's music, that's acting, whatever it may be. I have to be on TV. I have to be an internet sensation, whatever it is. And there's so much out there that we don't allow ourselves to see because of the environment. But I think exposure is the biggest piece. So it's one of my missions, and this is, I guess, a sneak preview of what I plan on doing, but is to highlight those people, right? Highlight those Black ADs in a space where you see people of color who are experiencing great success. Like Kristen Brown is one of those people. Yeah. So like deputy athletic director, I absolutely adore Kristen Brown. I think she's amazing. I love talking to her. Just
very, very genuine.
Her energy. Yeah. She's great. She's a great woman. And I feel like she's someone I look to and I'm like, yeah. Like, yeah, Kristen, yeah, Kristen. I want to be like Kristen when I grow up. Maybe it's not necessarily being an AD, or an associate AD, but just inhabiting those spaces, right? Making change, being a decision maker, getting into those rooms that people don't think we should be in all the time, right? So I think it's so powerful that you're thinking bigger picture, and that you want to step out and do that, right? Like that's courageous. It's not easy to say I want to be, well, actually it is. It's easy to say I want to be in the NFL, I want to be in the NBA, or I want to be a rapper, a musician, whatever it is. The work is obviously the harder part of that, but easier said than done. But for you to say that you want to be that, to step out and say, I want to be that person that revolutionizes college sports and be that face, that's incredible. So I want to talk about you. I mean, we've been talking about you, but I want to talk about you.
Get more personal. Yeah.
A little bit outside of football, outside of sport, outside of, I don't know, I kind of want to turn inward I want you to turn inward for a second.
Yeah.
So you're one of the most self-aware people that I've ever encountered, right? And self-awareness for me is huge. And it's kind of an Achilles heel at times, because even when I don't want to be as aware, I am. And it forces me to deal with myself even when I don't really want to. So I want to ask you, how do you talk about alignment? We talked about alignment earlier, just being present, being in your moment. What other things do you do to kind of center yourself and to get through those moments and those emotions that you allow yourself to feel, right? Because it's easier not to allow yourself to feel the bad, the anger, the frustration, the sadness, whatever it is. But what are some of the things that you do for yourself when things are feeling a little heavy?
Well, for starters, I meditate.
You meditate?
And I know a lot of people say, oh yeah, I meditate. Oh, I do yoga, but I real deal meditate. And I don't feel like I feel like for me, there's different types of meditation and there's different types of release. You know, people do this and they say, oh yeah, I'm meditating. But for me, meditation can be that, but meditation is for me going on a walk.
Okay.
Being by myself. A lot of people can say that I'm antisocial, but I'm antisocial when you need to be antisocial. I feel like people don't realize that you have to be alone sometimes. Like you have to be doing your own thing, because when you're out and you're sociable, which is great, but when you're excessively sociable, you're encountering with all these different auras and these different energies, and they're mixing and mingling, and that does take a toll.
You can lose yourself in all of that.
Yeah, you can lose yourself within all of that.
Bombarded with everybody else's stuff that you don't feel.
You lose yourself. You lose yourself. Yeah. And so, I've always been a person who when it's needed to take themselves out the equation, just deep breath, like debrief, and just allow myself to recenter and make sure I know that who I still am, because it's easy to lose yourself out here in life. And so just spending time by myself and is very therapeutic. Getting on the phone with my dad or my mom and just talking for hours and hours. Just I've always been a person that's easy, like I can easily express how I feel. And I feel like that's a thing that people need to pick up on, being able to express themselves thoroughly. So just picking up the phone and calling my parents. And I know it sucks because I know how you and I feel about like our parents or your mom, and how I feel about like my dad and my mom, but that's therapeutic when you pick up that phone and you just talk and you don't even know why you're calling them, but you're just calling the call. Like that goes such a long way, not only for us, but for them. Yeah. And that means the world to them. And that's why, like, when I see a bunch of like kids as they get older, just lose that connection with their parents, like it breaks my heart. Yeah. Because I've always been a family-oriented person, and it's almost like a slap in the face and just a blatant disrespect to our parents, to the people who brought us up, when I see that happen. So I always make sure that I have that line of communication open, and that really helps me get through a lot of things, and just helps me refocus, recenter, rejuvenate, in a sense. So yeah.
Yeah, we all need those people, even if it isn't our parents, like whoever it may be. Maybe it's an auntie. I call my auntie all the time, like my godparents. but you need that. You need that ear. So I would encourage all the people who are listening to this, find your ear. Don't isolate. Isolation is probably one of the worst things that you can do for yourself when things are starting to get really, really heavy.
Yeah.
It just weighs on your spirit, brings down your energy. Everything that you don't want to happen can happen, or you put yourself in you're susceptible to it when you do that. We're not in this to be alone, even though
Right.
you need to be alone at times to kind of sort through things and just recenter, realign, find your energy, all of those things. We need people. So thank you
Yeah.
for saying that. So we briefly touched on every part of your collegiate experience. Scout team, freshman, redshirt freshman, first year playing, enjoyed yourself. This past year, battled some injuries. You're part of the 90 Hours Club now. Where is Chase? Where is Chase? Where is his energy? Where is his mind? How are you feeling? How have you been?
And before I answer, I just want to say that's an important question that I feel like we should only ask our peers, but ask ourselves daily. Just like a mental health checkup. And I appreciate you for asking me that, because you don't get that question a lot. So um, honestly, I feel like I'm in a good place.
Okay.
Like you said, I had some things that kept me from doing the podcast earlier than that when I wanted to do it. But
Yeah.
I felt like I've been relieved of a lot of stress and pressure that I won't get into, but just on the surface level, I feel like I've had a lot of things just be released off my back, and a lot of things where I can just breathe now. And
Yeah.
I felt like I've released a lot of tension. Um, life's been really good. Life's honestly been really good. And I really can't complain, because at the end of the day, I'm healthy. My family's well, and that's all I can really ask for. So energy, I feel like I'm in a good place right now. My relationship is in a good place with Carlina. I know y'all are close. So but I have everything the way I want it right now. And I think the one area I need to work on is just we tend to pray when we need something, or when things are bad, but I'm really trying to get into the habit of praying when times are good, and just giving God grace all the time, because like without Him, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have any chance of doing what I would be doing in my life right now without God. So I just need to work on just giving it up to Him during the good times, and just staying level and staying balanced, not getting too high, not getting too low, and just trying to stay level-headed and afloat.
Staying neutral, staying even keel. I try to do the same thing, but I'm so glad to hear that. Right, like it's always nice for me to hear when people are actually doing good. Right, people ask you, "Well, how are you?" And the natural instinct, even when you aren't okay, is to say, "I'm fine."
Yeah, I'm
Like,
good.
don't worry about it. Like, just to keep going, put your head down, and keep moving. And sometimes that's necessary, but a lot of times it's good to have that mental health check, right? And as Keldrick said, just like, what's your temperature? So I appreciate you for being so open and all of that, and in this conversation. So now we're concluding it, but I wanted to hit you with a couple like easier questions, nothing too deep, very surface level stuff. So what's your favorite Aggie tradition?
Favorite Aggie tradition? Probably would have been ordering my Aggie ring. I know a lot of people talk about that moment and what it is for them, but like for me, it was ordering that ring. I just felt like I was accepted into this elite fraternity of just Aggies, and just it's a symbol of excellence. And I get it April 8th. So I'm really excited about that.
So
But yeah, probably, yeah.
excited.
And taking the pictures, I had on my nice outfit, taking the pictures with the sign, button ring and everything. It was I really enjoyed it.
Okay, I love that. No, ordering my Aggie ring. I was bad about it, honestly, but I was just in my house. But I just remember feeling this sense of so like pride, right? And I wear it all the time. I only take it off for practice. And where's my Aggie ring? Where's my Aggie ring? Every 5 seconds. So, what's your favorite place to eat in College Station?
Favorite place in College Station. Ooh, let me think. Let me think. I like the Republic. Have you been there?
No, that's for the rich. I'm just playing. I'm just joking. But no, the Republic, I'm a vegetarian. So is it a steakhouse or no?
Yes, steakhouse. They have like seafood and all that. So
Okay. Yeah. I think we may have gone on our visit or not. Well, I was a host during that
yeah,
visit, but I think they took the recruits there. But other than that, no. But the Republic, I was like, got money. Okay.
you
All
know,
right.
like, and it's like I like that place because like I like experience dining.
Mhm.
And I like to not only enjoy the food but just enjoy like the vibe, the
The
overall vibe.
atmosphere, the
Yeah.
ambiance, the whole
And
thing. I got
so like I go on like I'll take Carlina on dates there. We'll go to the
it. Mhm.
Republic. We have like date night or like when my parents come into town, like I'll take my dad there, I'll take my mom there, and
Yeah.
it's good. It's a good feeling. I feel like I'm from Houston, so like being in College Station is like kind of hard because it's like a culture shock
Little
because
culture
I'm
shock.
not because I'm from the city, like I'm from like downtown, midtown area. So like
Oh, wow.
it
Okay.
just being in a restaurant like that just gives me that like
That
that
vibe. No, I
I'm
feel
back. Yeah, I'm
that.
back home. So
I feel that. I find myself kind of chasing different experiences, like the liveliness. I'm from New York City, right? So being in College Station, just like you just being from that city and being here is like, okay, you kind of
yeah,
kind of itching for that sense of home. And so
yeah.
I definitely understand that. So favorite book or top 3 books, if you can decide.
Favorite book. Um, Probably the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that was a good read, and just, I won't get into it because it's kind of vivid, but
Yeah.
um, there's like a lot of things that throughout that book about him, about the time period that isn't as documented, like that you see in movies
For
or
sure.
in like Netflix documentaries and everything. So
Yeah.
if you want to know like the real deal, like
You're getting the real.
I would advise
That's
someone to pick up that book. That's all I'm gonna say. But I would
okay.
advise someone to pick up that book because it's a good way to. That book taught me to unlearn about a
Mhm.
lot of things and to learn new things. If that makes sense.
There it is. No,
Okay.
that's perfect. We can leave it at that. So 2 more. What's your favorite women's sports moment of all time?
Favorite women's sports moment of all time.
Yeah.
Can I give you top three?
Top 3. Go ahead.
Damn, top three. Okay. I'm gonna go from third place to first. They're all respectively number ones in their book, but I'm gonna give you
I
my
got
third
you.
place, second place, first place.
Okay.
Third place would be um Lainey Carroll,
Mhm.
women's soccer team last spring in the Sweet 16
Okay.
when it got down to penalty kicks
Mhm.
and they were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And they're playing Oklahoma State or something like that. I forgot who they're playing, but Lane Carroll's game winner because they reached the Elite Eight and they were balling that year.
Yeah.
And you could just tell like their confidence level was through the roof and just the
As
way
it
they
should have been.
the way they embrace each other. And that was a good thing to see.
Yeah.
Um, Number two, I think when she won, what did she win at nationals? Um, the 800. No, she ran the 400,
Uh,
right?
I want to say yes,
Yeah, she
but
won the she won the 400 800, but she did it in like record breaking fashion.
yeah.
And then she came back and ran the 4x4
Mhm.
and she split like 49-1 or 48 something.
Yeah,
And
we're
so
gonna have to get the details of
yeah,
this,
we're going to get the
but
details.
right now, okay, so
Yeah.
just generally details, subject to change, but Okay, that's number
And
2.
number 1 would have to be your game winner.
No, no, no,
Yes.
don't say that. See, now I'm blushing. Don't say that.
Jordan Nixon's game winner against Iowa State.
Please. March
Iowa State.
24th, 2021. The day
Iowa
of
State, right?
changed. Iowa State.
Yeah, Iowa State came down the lane, little teardrop. Ooh, and then I said, ooh, I said, yeah, she cold.
So funny story about that. Not the moment. Well, the moment was funny because Kayla Wells screamed in my ear. Oh my gosh, so loud. And I'll never forget that. But I have this, there's a picture of me laying on the floor. Indy is like yelling.
Yeah,
Someone's hand is on my face. But well, everybody's hand was on my face. But my mom took it upon herself because I think she heard me say it. She blew it up. Like it's in my living room in New York City. It's just huge, that photo. So well, thank you for that.
And then just more in that moment, you could just tell like when it went in, like I don't know how you felt because I'm not you and I never asked you about it, but it just felt like you were just like there, like you shot it.
Present.
Yeah, you were present.
I wanted to be. I literally, people asked me like why I smiled. I was like, because in my head I was like, oh snap, like that shit just happened. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you didn't
I
go
just
crazy.
Wanted to be so present. It's crazy.
And then your post-game interview, you know, I know a lot of people talk about that, but like if I were to watch that right now, I would still probably like get serious minds because like and that's why we love sports because we have moments like yours and just seeing how you were vulnerable in that moment and you were so emotionally available in that moment and you could just tell the hard work, the perseverance, the resiliency that you displayed not only in that moment but throughout your career. Yeah, like that hit home with me and just seeing how you care about your teammates and just seeing how you care about the sport and the sport you love and everything. How it was a testimony to how you carry yourself as a person, and that's why you being able to display your emotions like that not only hit home for me, but everyone across the country, everyone across the world. LeBron James posted it. Like LeBron posted, I was like, come on, man. So that was a big moment for you, of course, but that was a big moment for me as well. So.
I truly appreciate that. You just don't know. But okay, so last thing, let me get my life together. Complete this sentence for me. Ready? Chase Lane is blank.
Rising.
Ooh. That's a mic drop. That's a mic drop moment. Chase Lane is rising.
In all areas. In all areas. Emotionally, physically, athletically, spiritually, everything.
All of it.
I'm coming.
Ooh, we need to end it right there. That's it. That's all. Chase, thank you so much for this. I was eagerly anticipating this conversation. And I don't really think about how it's going to go prior to, obviously I prepare, but I needed this. I love this. Thank you so much for taking the time.
I appreciate you having me on here. And I just think that what you're doing is going to inspire a lot of athletes and a lot of Black women to take that same route you did. Yeah. And I see your growth. I see your maturity. I see your confidence from afar. And I know we don't really get to see a lot of each other, but I'm very adamant and I'm very big on giving people their roses. So I just want to say you've been an inspiration to me, not only through athletics, but just how you carry yourself as a woman. And no, real talk though, real talk. I'm not trying to, but real talk, I want to give you your flowers because people do a bad job of doing that today. So I just want to say, I love what you're doing. A lot of people love what you're doing. Keep it up. And you're gonna be successful in whatever route you take and whatever you do in the future. So I just want to say that.
We can't lose.
You can't lose.
We can't lose.
Can't lose.
That's it. That's all. Oh, thank you so much though, for real.
Thank you.